With plans in place, the TDSB and other school boards now need to finalize those back-to-school details and make sure everything is ready to get back to school, understanding that there are areas in the city that need to be a priority.
The first prong is to focus on the schools in the city that have been most impacted by COVID-19. So we have a list that's been provided to us by Toronto Public Health.
They're considered COVID hotspots. Toronto's largely racialized and low-income communities where the virus has had the most impact and where students going back to school are at the highest risk.
We know it's still an equity issue, so we want kids in school. That's not what we're trying to put barriers up to, but it needs to be done safely. And there are ways to do it safely that allow children access to the education they need.
Toronto Public Health has provided the TDSB with a list of elementary schools in the areas identified. And with that, the board has decided that class sizes at priority schools will be capped at 15 for JK and SK and 20 students for grades 1 to 8. That's even higher for all other schools, which still raises the question of spacing.
If 100% of our students come back, which we want them back at some point, we're going to have a little bit of a space crunch. That means about 34 schools in the system won't have enough space, and then we'll have to use the list that the city has provided us, and I'm grateful for that.
The city has said libraries, community centres and parks for outdoor classes are being made available to both the public and Catholic school boards. The number of teachers needed at this point has significantly increased, but the unions say they're ready and even more can become available.
There are teachers who are prepared to step up into those positions. Our occasional teachers, for example, who are ready to step into long-term occasional roles.
Students are expected to start a staggered return to class on September 15th, regardless.
I'm not exactly sure what the plan will be, if it's going to be by grade or if it's by program or a combination of those, but everyone will be back by the end of the week.
Is there still a concern on your part?
There's still very much a concern that we're starting with this model. There are ways that we could be starting the school year on safer footing that we're not implementing. So we know that classroom sizes should still be smaller. And to social distance in a safe way, we have to look at classroom sizes that are 15 students or less.
Something to consider as the bell gets closer to ringing, knowing those kids at high-risk schools are heading home in the neighborhoods already hit the hardest. The first thing that needs to take place is to try and determine how much extra space is going to be needed. They'll do that by making sure parents pre-register, and that all begins next Tuesday, August 25th, and will continue through August 29th.